Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dreams Unlimited Travel Podcast. My name is John Magi, and I'll be your host. And in this episode, we're going to tell you about Adventures by Disney Backstage Magic Trip. But something I'm really excited about is if you watch the new Disney Plus Imagineering show, you get to see some of the cool places you visit on a Backstage Magic. So we want to tie those two together and see if you're excited about that show and maybe seeing some of those things up close and personal. I'm joined at the table by Client Services Manager for Dreams Unlimited Travel, Kevin Close.
Hello, everyone.
And back in our production facility, our producer, Craig Williams.
Oh, hi.
Hi, guys. Thanks for being here. I wasn't planning on doing a show about this, but I got to tell you, we are watching the new Disney Plus show about the Imagineers. And we're very excited because not only is it a cool story and very well done, and some of the things, some videos and stuff we've never seen before, a lot of the places where the interviews are take place and the people they talk to are places you get to see on the Backstage Magic, the Adventures by Disney Backstage Magic.
I agree.
So it's kind of fun to sit there and go, oh, been there. Seen that, done that.
They're giving you a great deal of access that Disney doesn't usually do. This is a lot of a look behind the curtain.
Yeah, in the show for sure.
Right.
And again, stuff we've never seen before, video we've never seen. But one of the things they do a lot is they show the Imagineering building. You go inside, you see the model shop. You see other areas which I don't want to really talk about because, again, it's kind of like they ask us not to talk about it. But it's all these areas in Imagineering that are very, very cool. So you've heard us talk about the Backstage Magic before, and you know that it's an Adventures by Disney trip where you follow the story of Walt from going to Hollywood and through Disneyland. So you want to talk about some of the highlights of the Hollywood portion before we get to the...
I think the highlight that everybody looks forward to is the visit to Henson Studios, which used to be the Charlie Chaplin Studios, which was A&M Records for a while. It's where the song We Are the World was recorded. But right now it's Jim Henson Studios, and you get to visit the Muppets. You get to see some cool stuff. We've seen some unusual stuff. There was a show on about creating monsters.
Jim Henson's Creature
Shop
Creations,
or something.
Creature Shop, yeah.
And we've got to see some of that. You just get to see some really cool stuff.
It's still an active studio, so they're still recording things. Who do we see? Paul Williams,
the composer.
There.
We watched them film a little bit. I forget what the name of it was. It was about Boy Adventurer. It was
I don't know.
I apologize. You get to go to Henson Studios and see the Muppets, and that's really cool. There's a great deal of history involved there. You get to go visit the carousel at Griffith Park. This is the famed carousel that Walt sat by and realized that he wanted to do something that was fun for the whole family, as opposed to Daddy Day, where he took his daughters to ride a carousel while he sat on a bench.
And every episode of the show, they talk about this story about how Walt, wanted to do something with his kids.
Disneyland.
Right? And they talk about it. So you get to actually go and ride on and see the carousel that Walt took his daughters to. There's a bench there that Walt sat on. That's actually now plaqued and dedicated and roped off. So
you also
very
get
cool.
to visit. It used to be Grauman's Chinese Theater. If you're at all interested in sort of the history of Hollywood, this is interesting. They have a reel that they've put together that shows you the history of the famed theater itself. So I find that all kind of cool. Plus, you get to see Hollywood.
And the theater has a direct connection now with Disney Hollywood Studios and Walt Disney World. There's the facade of the theater outside, and the inside is themed like the theater. So there's all these great Disney World connections, Disneyland connections, even Disney Cruise Line connections that sort of come together in this telling of Walt's life story of his career. And I think that it's something that as a Disney fan, people should experience.
And you're in Hollywood for 2 nights. And your first night is really arrival day. Folks arrive at different points during the day, and you have a welcome dinner. So you are on your own for most of the day, and you're at the corner of Hollywood and Highland, and there's a shopping complex, there's the wax museum. You're a $15 or $20 Uber ride from the farmers market, the Hollywood Farmers Market, which we think is one of the best places on earth, and we don't ever go to California without a stop at the farmers market. So it's a kind of, you've got a day to do things on your own. The next day starts early and it's very busy. You go to visit Muppet Studios. You go to the Tam O'Shanter, which is the restaurant that Walt used to send his Imagineers to. When they were lagging and needing a new idea, he would send them off to dinner and tell them to come back with a different idea. And there's also a booth marked. That was Walt Disney's favorite booth there. Now, we have seen, this doesn't happen, I can't guarantee this, it was a fluke. We ran into Dick Van Dyke at the Tam O'Shanter, and I understand that it's not uncommon to have some of old Hollywood show up.
The Tam is an old Hollywood staple for sure.
If you watch the TV show The Office, the very last episode was filmed at The Office, and there's some great history. The restaurant was started by set decorators that wanted to honor Scotland.
So then the next day is the day we go to...
It's kind of the tent pole
right.
day.
You go to Disneyland, but along the way is when what we consider the real Disney fan stuff, like the stuff you don't get to see by going to Hollywood on your own or Disneyland on your own.
There's a stop at Disney Studios, and we're not talking Disney Hollywood Studios. We're talking Walt's actual studio. If you are at all aware of what you're watching on TV, you're going to recognize places that they use at Disney Hollywood Studios in actual television and movies. It's got a very distinct look to it, and you get to go to the Disney archives. You get to do all sorts of things.
And again, if you're watching this show on Disney Plus, the Imagineering Story, you're going to see places where they're interviewing people. You see the Michael Eisner building, which has the dwarfs holding up the roof. You're going to see exteriors of the studio buildings where the ink and paint girls used to work. So, and interiors too. They show some hallways, and I think
this is where
I've been
Walt's
there.
office is. You also get a shopping opportunity that is not available to anybody who doesn't have access to the Hollywood, the actual Disney studio. After that, you leave. Oh, you get to have lunch in the Disney Studio commissary also. Sometimes it's lunch, sometimes it's breakfast. After that, you head to Imagineering. And all I can tell you is you never know what you're going to see. We have seen some really amazing stuff. We get to see some really amazing stuff. And they ask us not to tell you what we see for a couple of reasons. They want you to be surprised, but they also cannot always guarantee that everybody will see the same thing because different parts of the Imagineering are being used for different things. But I will tell you that for a while we saw this very large scale model, and we all figured out early that it was the redo of Fantasyland in Walt Disney World. So it was kind of see that before everybody else. And the thing everybody gets excited about is you have a serious shopportunity. You get to go in Mickey's of Glendale, and Mickey's of Glendale is the store that is made for Imagineers. And you never know what you're going to find in Mickey's of Glendale. The last time we were there, they had denim jackets. Now, this was in July. Mm-hmm. They had denim jackets advertising Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Made just for the Imagineers. This is Imagineer exclusive merchandise that for a ride that wasn't open yet.
We were there one time, and they had leather jackets that were for an anniversary of the Haunted Mansion, and it had the grim grinning ghosts on it, and they lit up. So there's always something you can find that you can't find anywhere else. And then once you've done all that, this is a big day. You transfer to Disneyland and you ride.
I don't want to skim over too much because, again, watching this Imagineering show and saying, listen, we've been in that building. They show the exterior and you're like, I walked through that door. I walked down that hallway. There's the portrait hallway where the Imagineers were allowed to paint anything they wanted. They show you that.
You get to walk through the reference library where the Imagineers can go, and I would like to spend several days there just browsing. It's just a huge library with every different Disney reference book you can imagine.
One of the things they show quite a bit in this show is the model shop. And this is where they take styrofoam and they create stuff out of it. And it's the future Disney things like...
We were there one time and we saw them building these enormous horse sculptures. And it was for part of China, the Shanghai Disneyland.
The back of, I'm thinking what might have been the Fantasy. Doing what was on the back of the Fantasy.
It was Goofy, and I can't remember which it was, but it was the dangling sculpture off the back of one of the ships. I think it's the Fantasy.
The last time we were there, the Dream. The last time we were there, we were walking around, and they're like, "Oh, look at this thing in the model shop. We want you to see this." And I'm very, very nosy. I'm looking all around to see what I can see. And he's like, "No, don't look around. Just look at this thing that I want you to see. Don't look around." So I was looking around and he goes, "Do you know what that is behind you?" I said, "No, I have no idea what this model is behind me." And it turns out, based on what we're seeing now, it's the model for the new entrance to Epcot. So they were working on the renovations to the new entrance to Epcot with the fountain and the trees and everything.
You are not
really
allowed
cool
to leave your group. You're not allowed to wander around, but you are allowed to turn around. And I tell everybody that goes, turn around. They're going to focus you like Disney does. They're going to focus you where they want you to look, but it certainly doesn't hurt to turn around and look behind you. You can't open doors, you can't move curtains, but you can look. And one day I was in there and I was doing just that. I was with the group, but I turned around and I was looking in this room, and one of the gentlemen said to me, "Do you know what you're looking at?" And I said, "I don't." He said, "This was once the Florida room." He said, "Have you ever seen the big picture of Walt where he's got the pointer and he's pointing at all the different things that are coming to Central Florida?" And it gave me goosebumps. I was standing in Walt's Florida room, and all it was because I looked in an open door from the hallway. I didn't go in, but it's kind of cool what you might see. And the people there are very friendly and very generous and with their information.
We met a couple of Imagineers. We met Don Iwerks at one point.
That's Ub Iwerks' grandson, I believe.
I don't know.
And the ship was actually the Magic.
Okay.
Goofy.
All right.
Sorry. I know other people would call it out and be like,
Yeah.
how do you not know this?
Right. It'll be in the comments later. John, you're so stupid. It's the Magic. Okay. I can live with that.
Then we did not go on this trip before the Magic sailed. So then it had to be someone else.
It was something else that was hanging from the back
Maybe it
of
was
one of the
Donald.
ships, but it was...
Here's the deal. We saw them building one of those.
Right. And they explained that this is what you're doing. And again, a lot of it is, just sort of being in the area where all this stuff is created, where stuff has been created, where, Walt was and the Imagineers were. It's very, very cool from a real Disney fan's perspective. Being able to experience this as a Disney fan is
You're in the heartbeat of
unbelievable.
Imagineering.
Yeah. Excellent. And again, I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's not, it's only an afternoon really.
A couple of hours, but it's an important couple of hours.
It's life-changing, I think, couple of hours. And then we move on to Disneyland and all the cool stuff that happens at Disneyland. And
you stay at the Grand Californian and you check in and you're given tickets and keys to your room. And there's going to be a dinner there usually. And you're off on your own and you're allowed to go through Disneyland. Depending on the schedule of events in Disneyland, ABD makes sure that you see the fireworks. They make sure that you see Fantasmic, and they make sure that you see World of Color. So those are not things that you have to schedule on your own.
a parade. Make sure they get
Those things are scheduled for you, and there are special seats for ABD guests for all of that. So you have some free time. The other thing is you are ABD'd into several different attractions so that you don't have to wait in line and you get to see them from a little bit of a different perspective.
There's backstage experiences that let you experience things that no other guests can see.
Right.
And, sort of get a behind the scenes look of how things work for certain attractions in certain areas of the park.
Depending on, again, some of these things, I can't promise this is going to be true for all
it's hard
trips
to
because sometimes things aren't available.
Right.
But you get to see some pretty cool stuff that legendary stuff.
Right.
One of the things that happens on most trips.
Don't give it away.
Okay.
Don't give it away. Let them be surprised when they see it. But I want to make sure you guys know that these are very cool experiences. I think from a Disney fan perspective, this is sort of, in my opinion, the ultimate trip that you can do.
It's next level fandom.
It really is. It's really cool fandom stuff. And Disney is still running a discount on their Adventures by Disney trips, $400 off per person. Certain trips still have them, believe it or not. I made sure I looked that up before we started the show. So you're looking at the April 2nd through April 5th, 2020, Adventures by Disney Backstage Magic. Oh, that's not right. That can't be right. That's only 3 days. Did I look up the wrong thing?
That might be the Short Escape.
I did. I looked up the Short Escape. Shoot. Sorry, guys.
Here's the deal.
Give them some more info, Kevin.
They're running a promotion of $400 off per domestic trip. However, that promotion is limited per departure. There's only a certain number of discounted seats available on these trips. So this could change while we're recording this. It's one of those things that we can call and check, and I would be happy to make sure that I get the best price for you. Plus, you're eligible for the Dreams Unlimited booking discount, which brings the price down considerably. The Dreams booking discount is based on the cost of your adventure, and it is taken off the top. You do not pay that price. You do not pay that amount. That's taken care of for you. It's a great way to save some money by booking through us. I am running out of stuff to talk about, so you better get ready.
I found what I was looking for. I apologize for that. Again, there is still some of the discounts available. The May 24th through May 29, 2020 trip, $33.99 per person for an adult, $32.09 per person for a child.
After the
That's
discount?
after their discount, but then our discount is on top of that.
Now, I get this question a lot. Is this appropriate for children? And I will tell you that it is not a wild day in the park running from attraction to attraction. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of touring. There's a lot of standing around and listening to people who are telling you things that you don't know. And you would have to be the one that would decide whether your children, this was appropriate for your children. There might be some Disney secrets given away, and you might see some things that might spoil some magic for a younger visitor.
Right. There's backstage experiences where you might experience something that would kill the magic, and we don't want that to happen.
So I have traveled with, we traveled with a young person who was fascinated, asked questions, was involved. It's up to you. It is not just a VIP guided tour where you go from attraction to attraction to attraction. There's a lot of on your own time for you to experience the parks and things, but it is not that. It is a guided tour with a serious bent towards history and letting you see behind the curtain.
For those of you who can't travel in May, you can only travel in the summer. There's a June 21st trip, again with that same discount is applied. June 28th, same discount is applied. And there's actually a July 26th through July 31st, 2020. That is the best price I'm seeing, $32.99 per person for adults based on double occupancy, $31.19 for children. So again, $6,600, and then you apply the Dreams discount to that. And again, this is stuff that you will not see anywhere else unless you go on Backstage Magic.
This does not include your airfare, and no matter what he's reading you, I cannot guarantee that those discounts are available. They are limited, and they are based upon availability. I would do my best to get them for you, but we have to go into that knowing that. These are also not the Diz Dreams exclusive trips. We are running 2 next year, one in July, the beginning of July, and one at the end of October. Unfortunately, both of those sold out. We will be announcing new trips when ABD announces their dates, usually in May of next year. So if you're interested in going with us in 2021 and you're looking for a Diz exclusive experience, you have to act pretty quickly. We announce it on the show. We announce it on social media. We put it on the Diz board. We put it everywhere we can possibly think of.
Those are limited. Those sell out fast. I want to emphasize next year, 2020, some really good discounts still available for certain trips. And it's very likely the price will go up and that these discounts will go away. So if you can travel in 2020, I certainly recommend taking advantage of those. If you don't want to travel with kids, there are many adult-only departures out there where it's no kids allowed on the trip. So if that's something that excites you or interests you, certainly look into that. We can look into that for you as well. But I wanted to sort of make sure that, I emphasize my excitement over this Disney Plus series on Imagineering and how cool it is not only to see that stuff, but to relate it to the things I've already seen and the things you could see if you go on this Backstage Magic. There's a lot of people who say, these Adventures by Disney Vacations, I could take another one. I could go through a different tour company and it would be cheaper, or it would be the exact same itinerary. Why would I do Disney? This is exclusive to Disney. You can't do a Backstage Magic through anybody else. And you might get bits and pieces through certain things like D23, but you're not going to get this full experience of the full sort of story.
This is proprietary.
World. Yeah. Cool stuff. Very, very cool stuff. Exciting stuff. I hope you can do it. I hope you can take advantage of one of these trips because, again, some pricing that's pretty incredible that I think is going to go away fast. Combine that with our discount, and I think a fairly reasonable trip out there for anybody who's interested in doing it.
Kevin at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com.
You can go right to our website, www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. We have an online calculator that will let you pick your date and see a price immediately, or you can write to Kevin at dreamsunlimitedtravel.com, and he can work with you on finding the right date that works with you.
If you already have a Dreams Unlimited travel agent, they can also help.
Contact your agent directly, and they'll be able to help you get you to that information. But please do it. Again, watch this Disney Plus series on Imagineering. Look around, get excited, and then you can go and you can see the stuff that's happening right there on the show. Excellent. Thank you, Kevin, for helping me with that conversation. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody at home, for listening and watching. We hope you have a great week, and we hope you have a great vacation.